5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But let's finish off what we've started for our games of the year. Shadow Fox.
Yes, this one is probably not going to be much of a surprise. It's also not going to be one you've not heard of because Turbo just recently mentioned it. And it's Nintendo's other flagship hero, Link in Tears of the Kingdom, or Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at least.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not called Link Tears
It's
of
not
the
called
Kingdom.
Link. No, he does all the work though. Well, in this game.
Yeah. Doesn't he do most of the work in most of the games? Zelda's just the damsel in distress.
Yeah, I mean she does a fair bit in this game.
That's because it's the Legend of Zelda, not the Legend of Link.
One of them is called The Legend of Link, though, isn't it?
No.
Not even one of the CDIs?
I thought it was one of the CDI ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's Link. No, you got Link, the Faces of Evil, and Zelda, Wand of Gamelon. They're not called the Legend of.
No, but at least he gets top billing in one of them.
Link.
But no, yeah. I mean, so in a way, it's a lot similar to me as Starfield was, in that you've got a big open map. And initially I had the same fears of it going. I looked at the map and I went, wow, there's a lot to do here. And then I was like, oh, there's 3 times as much to do here because there's 3 levels of existence. But when I actually sat down and played it, that was much less of a worry to me. Like the upper levels and the lower levels kind of have their own things going on, but they're not as in-depth. But the mainland is where the main core of it is. And it was, like you said, you're not a big fan of the creation part of it.
Yeah.
There is a part, there's a location of the map where it's just like, here's a bunch of materials to make fun things. And I would go there and spend time over there and just be like, yes, let's build a trike with an engine here and a thing here. And the ability to run things using battery power and electric power if you... There's one shrine that you can go to, and then you can, save an electric motor to a thing, and then you can summon it over and over again, and you can, supercharge vehicles for fun. Or create terrifying mob-killing traps, if you so wish. There was some terrifying creations from the Reddits and such as flying dragons that simulate the real dragons that are in the game, or the worms. It's like going through, it's everything that I loved about Breath of the Wild, and it was definitely a game that I appreciated just as much when my partner was playing through it, when Crow was playing through it. I was watching her play it, and I'm just thinking, oh yeah, why didn't I think of doing that method when putting things together? I love the way that the combat is much more separated from... Because I'm in Breath of the Wild, you spend a lot of time using your stasis, your bombs, your ice, your whatever in combat, whereas in here it's more focused on just what abilities you have at your disposal and the weapons you have. And the weapon crafting, I actually feel is quite nice in a way, because I was never short of materials. I was never short of good weapons. Every weapon went into killing a monster, which would give me a better weapon. Though, of course, I did not collect all the Korok seeds. I was not a crazy man, like some people. Though I definitely do wish I had more inventory slots, so maybe I should have. I'd say, do you want to throw some more thoughts out, Turbo? Or
Granted, you've pretty much hit a lot of the nail on the head, and I can understand why you enjoyed it a lot more than I did. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's just obviously, and I enjoyed the story to it and how it was intriguing and stuff like that. But what one person that we all know, who's kind of like a friend to the LMC crew, that's currently on an extensive completionist journey to beating this game, and he's still not completed it yet, because obviously he doesn't stream as much as like myself or anyone else who streams on the daily and whatnot. It's like he does not like how a lot of the kind of like story bit, because all the events that happened in Breath of the Wild pretty much gets thrown under the rug. Like certain kind of like character relations and stuff like that with certain NPCs and stuff like that They are not brought up.
Yeah, that is the biggest downside that I had with a game. Is like if you did a completion, like a damn near completionist playthrough of Breath of the Wild, doing all the quests and like interacting with all the people, you go to meet them again now, and it's like you've never met them. It's like you didn't help them set up this entire thing that they now are doing.
Yeah. I mean, a good notable one is the town that Link builds,
Tarrytown.
helps build, Terrytown. Yeah,
because you've got Hudson's construction company, and
yes.
you meet him again. You meet his accomplices again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like none of them recognize you, and it's like you exist because of me, more or less.
I created this.
I created this.
But yeah, it's stuff like that obviously has hurt there in like Ezio. We're talking about Ezio. Hi Ezio. Their enjoyment of the game, because I've seen him be visibly pissed off at how the story is completely screwed up in from his perspective. But in my perspective, I didn't have that problem. I wasn't really that frustrated with the minute kind of like details with the certain NPCs. I was more focused on the main story mostly, with what happened to Zelda and where she's gone. And that was one of my main because the main thing, obviously, you could do whatever you want to after you start the game. After you're back at the ground level of Hyrule, because obviously you start in the sky.
The great way that it works is it's like tutorial in the sky. You get to the ground, and then you've got like 3 quest lines, and by the end of the game, it kind of wants you to have done. So it's like there are 3 quest lines. You can do. I think you have to do like 2 of them to get to the midpoint of the gate, or at least maybe 3/4 of the way through, and then it unlocks like the final quest line, and then you can also complete the like 3rd one after that. But yeah, it's a little bit of freeform again, but it gives you directions, and yeah, there are certain quest lines in that are very powerful, I would say, to how they can make you feel, or at least how they're represented. So trying to not say too much. Some of it is quite obvious. I feel like you can pretty much piece together what. It's like partway through the quest, you can kind of piece together what's been happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like one of the quest lines, one of the quest lines does require you to find certain areas in a specific order in order to tell the story of what's happened in order. Otherwise, you're gonna be spoiled by events out of order, and I had that happen to me, where I found something and it was retold out of order, and I was being spoiled by what happened to another character in the story, and it's like, oh, okay then. That's a bit of a mistake on my part. But that was also another factor with one of the other quest lines in Breath of the Wild, where you can also do certain events out of order as well. So
I was quite lucky where when I got to a big revelation, I had just I decided to upgrade before I went to the point, so I had just enough stamina to finish. Otherwise, that would have been a very anticlimactic moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll say it's hard to say if those who would play it haven't played it yet, but if you haven't, do it. if you like Breath of the Wild and you're umming and ahhing for half a year plus, go for it.
And here's the thing, don't worry about any extra DLC being made for Tears of the Kingdom, because they don't plan on doing that. So you've got a complete game straight out of the bat with Tears of the Kingdom.
And you're also always going to have a rubbish Master Sword.
But it's a meaty like full package. So yeah, it's like
and as
enjoy
I said,
it.
You don't necessarily need to play the first one because everything gets reset anyway, so you can kind of go into it with very little knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't think it's for me. I didn't enjoy Breath of the Wild, so I don't think I'll enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's pretty much just building upon what happened, or like what they implemented in terms of gameplay from the first game into the second. So yeah.
Alright.
So, yeah, I was going to
moving
say, with your number one taken care of, I will take care of my number one, which is the number two, because it's a sequel.
It is what I thought it was.
And it's a sequel I've also been kind of waiting for a while. And since its initial reveal, I've been waiting very patiently for its arrival, and it's finally here. It's a shame it's only on digital, but who knows if there's enough popular, you know, kind of like uproar for a physical version. I might get that physical version when it may come around. Who knows? But only time will tell. But right now, I had a blast playing through this sequel, and I'm really looking. And I've also bought the digital deluxe version, so there is some extra DLC going to be coming out for it over the year, over the next year. So I'm looking forward to how they expand on the story with those extra content, and that is with Alan Wake 2. Oh, sorry. I need to put it in as it is in the clip on the LMC channel. Alan Wake 2. There you go. So yeah, Alan Wake 2. I love this game. Like, I was really invested with how they were telling the story of this game, because I loved the original Alan Wake. Not when it first came out, but when I played it on 360 on pre-owned. It's kind of like with Bayonetta, really. I didn't buy the games new when they first came out. I just basically gave them a shot after I saw like the game on used, you know, for, you know, it's like 10 or something like that. And I played through the original, absolutely loved it, loved the DLC that was part of it. Then the remaster of the original game came out a while back, played through that. Got the platinum for that. Did a video on that on my personal YouTube channel. Search for, you know, how I beat Alan Wake 2, or how I completed Alan Wake 2's trophies list in less than 5 hours. And yeah, Alan Wake 2. I was really enthralled with how it was dealing the story, because it's a tale of two characters effectively. You got new character Saga Anderson, who is in the real world investigating more recent occurrences in Bright Falls, which is where the first game was set, and where Alan Wake disappeared. And then you got Alan Wake himself in the dark place where he was trapped in at the end of the first game. And time has passed, obviously, where it's been 13 years since the events of the first game, and Alan is now out of the dark place. But in the midst of the story, you get to play of what happened to Alan during that time of him just finding a way out of the dark place during this game's events. And then it also intertwines with Saga's story as well, and there's kind of like an overlap at points between the two characters, and it's interesting how they try to kind of like weave the story between the two, and then how Alan's writing again being powered by the dark presence, in manipulating in the real world and becoming true in the real world. So obviously Alan is writing Saga into the story, and events that didn't actually happen from Saga's point of view are becoming real because of Alan's writing and stuff like that. It was really good. Now, granted, there's a lot of confusion in it, but that's the best thing apart of it. It can be confusing, but it's so intriguing to kind of like, okay, this is a bit confusing, but I'm invested. I want to know more. I want to see how this goes. I want to know how it goes in the end. And yeah, for like a massive adventure, you know, going through this game and whatnot, really good. Like I found it fun. I felt the combat wise it was fine, like pretty much on the same scale as, you know, the over shoulder third person shooter kind of like mechanic things. The puzzles in it was mind bending at points. I got stumped like 3 times with some puzzles in the game for some extra goodies and stuff like that. And particularly, I hate math. It's like there's a couple of math ones that were just really annoying me. So thank you, Stray Girl, again, because I streamed this online on my channel again, and Stray Girl, who's prevalent in a lot of the streams, was there to help out with the math problems, and yeah, they're definitely much more math person than I am. But overall, I just really enjoyed the story, and I really enjoyed playing Saga as a new character to the story of Alan Wake and whatnot. I didn't play everything that was prior to Alan Wake. Obviously, you had Alan Wake, American Nightmare. I really didn't have interest to play that at any point, and frankly, you don't need to, because it has no connection to the main story that is being told with Alan Wake 2. You've got, but the only thing that does have connection to Alan Wake 2 is Control, and I didn't play Control beforehand because there's a piece of DLC that's part of Control that's also done by Remedy. That does have connection to the Alan Wake storyline for this.
Yeah, I heard
for this what's being called the Remedyverse, essentially, because obviously it's their games, and but other than that, you don't really need to play Control and that piece of DLC that's part of that to understand what's happened to Alan Wake. You just need to play the first game, and you kind of get an idea of what's happened to Alan Wake. Like, he's trapped in a dark place, that's what's happening, you know.
He could write any story like Tom Zane before him, and maybe they'd be happy once again. Just one shot, one more chance for him to save their marriage away from the city.
But yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and by God, it will always be like in the first game. There was a moment in the game where you were on a stage and it was like blaring out a rock song, and you're defeating these Taken coming at you with this rock song in the background. There is a moment in this game that trumps that, and it's on the same level, but beats it even better. Like, and in fact, actually, it happens twice. It's like there's one in the real world and one in the dark place that has like epic music moments while in combat and whatnot. And it's like, oh, this is the best game ever. I can tell you, I can't make this anything lower than it's like it's so good. So yeah, I can't say any more on Alan Wake 2. It's just really good. Granted, yeah, it sucks that it's digital only. I don't know why Remedy thought that was the case, but hey, I don't care. It's like, if it's digital only, it's digital only. I've done it before where there's games that I really wanted to play that are only digital only. So I bite the bullet, and I'm glad I bit the bullet and played this.
I actually think a lot of the like big Game of the Year awards are going to be between Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah,
neither of which had physical releases.
That's actually surprising. I thought Baldur's Gate 3 has a physical release.
Not yet.
Yeah, but it's going to have one.
It has now been so successful that they are going to do one.
Okay, well there you go. I just hope that Alan Wake 2 has the same outcome.
Exactly.
Well. I just hope
That's
that.
what I was going to say.
But no, it goes to show you that you don't need to be a physically released game in order to be considered a Game of the Year contender. Not just from an indie standpoint. Like it's not just it's like any game like that just releases on digital can be a good contender for Game of the Year if you've got an engaging game to play, you know, because that's the main thing, is that it needs to be engaging, it needs to be fun, and that's what Alan Wake 2 was for me. It was fun to me, and it was the most fun I had all year. I mean, granted, I had a lot of fun games like Hi-Fi Rush, fun game. Resident Evil 2, fun game. RoboCop Rogue City, fun game. But Alan Wake 2 was the fun game for me this year. The fun game, hands down. And that's my
everyone I've heard who's played this game has been enraptured by it. It doesn't surprise me. No, good.
place? Am I trapped in here? Is this real? I cannot remember. There was a manuscript, it held a key. A vicious cycle I must not surrender to. Echo scenes to seek out again and again until I figure it out to bring this song to its end. I will bring this song to its end. You gotta figure it out to bring this song to its end. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface.
Well,
The last one.
yeah. And my number one is probably somewhat predictable if you know me. It is a sequel to a game released 9 years ago from a developer that you may not suspect that a puzzle game would come from. But it is a direct sequel to one of the endings for the previous one. Have you guessed what it is then, Shadowfox?
I'm trying to remember the name of the thing.
It is called the Talos
Talos.
Principle 2.
Yeah, Talos Principle, that was it.
Now, I highly recommend playing the first game anyway. As I mentioned, you can get it in sales very cheap now. I think it's the deluxe edition's been on PlayStation for like less than £2. So, you know, I'd highly recommend the original. But so what the sequel starts you out? It first starts you out by literally reintroducing you to most of the mechanics that were introduced in the original game. There's one mechanic that from the original game that doesn't make a return, and that's the recording stuff, which is a shame, but they do introduce something that basically replaces it, so it makes sense. But after the short intro, it thrusts you into a big story segment. You are a robot called 1K because you are the 1000th human, quote unquote, that has been made. You are a robot, as is everyone is robots, because humanity died, and you'll find out why through the various logs and stuff in the game. And if you played the original, you may also know as well. But the main game, after you've gone through the big story section, it just kind of lets you get on with the puzzles. And there are 12 main areas to the game. Each area introduces a new mechanic, except for the final area, which removes every mechanic it's introduced in the game and goes back to the very basics. But yeah, each area introduces a new mechanic. So the first one is the RGB connector, which also introduces a new colour. So in the original, you only got red and blue lasers. you now get green lasers, and the RGB connector helps you transfer red and blue lasers to green, or vice versa. Every area has 8 main puzzles, 2 bonus puzzles, which you can kind of just use them to replace one of the other puzzles if you get stuck. 2 statue puzzles that get you stars, that are for something that I've not quite figured out what the meaning of it is, but it's an achievement. And then there's 1 golden puzzle which you can't solve until the end of the game. But they are essentially the hardest puzzles in the game. Every time you complete a puzzle, you get a Tetris piece. Those Tetris pieces, unlike the previous game, you don't solve 2D puzzles. You instead make a bridge with the Tetris pieces, and you have to get it from point A to point B using the positive and negative ends of the Tetris pieces. Essentially, it is what it is. It's it's a puzzle game for the sake of solving puzzles, and that is all I wanted out of the sequel. And I didn't quite expect it to be this big. I didn't quite expect it to have so many different mechanics, especially some that really rack your brain over. Yeah, you have 12 worlds with 13 puzzles in each. It's going to take you a while. There are also some additional puzzles between the plot points. The plot revolves around this mega structure you go into multiple times, and some of the times you go in there you'll have to solve some puzzles, and at the end of the game there's a final world that has like a mega puzzle, which that takes a while to get your head round. Unfortunately, it has one slight issue in which that if you fail any of the puzzles in the final end act world, you have to restart all the way from the back of the first puzzle. But that's because it's basically several different smaller puzzles woven into a single puzzle that interacts with each other. It'll just hurt your brain. Just go with that one. But yeah, there's a few extra story bits. You're not alone in this one. You have other characters that accompany you. They don't ever help you solve the puzzles or anything, but it adds a bit of flavour as to why you're doing the stuff you're doing. The only annoyance that I can really think is that you have to complete the free game 3 times to get 3 different things that happen in the middle of the game. Because the game doesn't have free saving, it's auto-saving. But I think that's because they've moved from their own engine to the Unreal Engine. But no, I love this game. I have only played it through once so far. I need to do it 2 more times, but I'm looking forward to it. I've just been trying to get other games done in the meantime. But no, it's everything I wanted. I have no real complaints about this game. The Task Principle 2 is just the game I've enjoyed the most this year. That's why it gets my number 1. I don't think it's going to interest many other people, but
I must say that this is your games of the year, your personal ones that you've played, and if it's the game you had the most fun with, then you can't argue with that.
Yeah, and to be fair, the thing is, I would recommend this game to everyone, but I would also recommend you play the first game, because you kind of you want the knowledge from the first game's puzzles to solve the starting puzzles in this game. So, the tutorial ones are really basic. It's here is how you use what they call a tetrahedron, aka a box, so you can jump on and get past levels and stuff. Here's how you use connectors. It's very, very basic stuff, but it's to try and get you up to speed to the first starting puzzles. The different gadgets they do, most of them have a very simple purpose, but the amount of stuff they think of, to mix and match between the puzzles. Usually, what they do is some of the earlier puzzles, it'll be hey, we've introduced this new mechanic. You'll only have to use this new mechanic and one other mechanic from either the previous game or this game, just so you understand the principle. So the first 8 puzzles are all numbered 1 to 8, and they generally go up in difficulty as you go through. Whereas the 2 bonus ones, the difficulty varies, and, you know, in some cases, I found the bonus puzzles easier than some of the late game puzzles, because that's just the way they were. And sometimes it's just like, how does your mind think, kind of thing. But no, it's a, you know, I still highly recommend the first game. And if you enjoy the first game, I would almost say this is an essential purchase. It's, if you love if you like games like Portal, this is a great series to pick up. I really was struggling to think how they would do a sequel. And they managed it really, really well. Do I want another sequel? Yes. I keep on hitting my mic with my hand for some reason.
Such an exaggerating mode.
I think it's just I need to move my hands. I've been at this for a while. But yes. Talos Principle 2. I loved it. I want to go play it again. But now I know the solution to most of the puzzles, so it's going to be a much quicker playthrough. So I may need to wait to play it again. Do I hope they do DLC like they did for the first Talos Principle? I don't know. I don't know how much I want my brain to scream in pain from thinking too much. We'll see. But, yeah. Talos Principle 2 is my number 1. And with that, it is another end to the year. Thank you to both for joining me again.
It's been a pleasurable few hours.
Yeah, it's a very, very eventful few hours.
True, this is probably the longest one we've done. This is probably going to be a three-parter, isn't it, Shadowfox?
Well, it's a 3-hour recording, so yeah, it'll be a little bit of snip here, a little bit of, and then just fill in the rest with music.
Yeah, I don't think you're cutting it down to 2 hours.
Oh no, you'd lose too much.
But yes, and as we go into another year, we've got plenty to look forward to, I think. I can tell you 2 games off the top of my head, both remastered, as admittedly. Apollo Justice Trilogy and Paper Mario 1000 Year Door remake. Although I'm also looking forward to Suicide Squad as well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. We'll see how that one pans out.
Yeah, see how that goes.
Yeah, Silk Song, theoretically, hopefully. I don't know. That one's
how long have we been waiting for that for?
Yeah, how long have you been waiting for that one?
Oh, for a while. Yeah, so hopefully hopefully, maybe. I'll tell you, the GTA 6 trailer just dropped. It got leaked, so now they've dropped it early.
Yeah, 2 days
ago,
early.
as of this recording. So
now you know where to date us by timestamp, practically.
Yeah.
But
that might be interesting. That apparently it's like 2025 if what people are saying are true.
Oh, yeah,
so
I don't think it's
not even next year.
Yeah. How about you, Turbo?
I was gonna say, I'm really looking forward to, again, another kind of like a remaster remake. Well, it's proper remake because it's working from the ground up of another Code Recollections.
Yes.
1 and 2 being the first and second game being done for the Switch and whatnot. I'm really looking forward to that.
I think I played the first game, but I don't think I played the second game.
It's a really good puzzle adventure game, or series even. So hopefully with the success of that, we might get some more ports down the line. Maybe a Hotel Dusk and Last Window duology like this one, and then Princess Peach Showtime. Really looking forward to that in the
that
early
could be
half.
Quite interesting. Yeah.
The early half of the year. And actually, there's a game that came out this month that was very interesting. That's based on Scotland, called A Highland Song. I just saw the trailer for that, and I might give it a go. So, stay tuned.
The other game I did forget, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or whatever they call it in the second part.
Rebirth, yeah. For the second one.
Too many games. Still too many games. Got to get through my backlog. But yes, we hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to discuss what your favourites are. But in the meantime, I think it's time we signed off and gave our voices a rest.
Yes, absolutely.
Any final words from you, fellows?
I think by the time this comes out, I hope you're enjoying your new year. Hope it started well.
Yeah, hope you've been enjoying 2024 so far. So, yeah, here's for the rest of 2024, and yeah, we'll see you all next year for the next Game of the Year recordings and whatnot. So, yeah, enjoy playing your games and be awesome to each other.
Yes, please take care of yourselves. Let's hope that 2024 is definitely a better year for the world, I think is one way to put it. But from myself, Shadowfox and Turbo, we bid you all adieu.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.